Here's something that came up against the Hurricanes, or rather in the Hurricanes-Reds game on Friday night. The interpretation around the intentional knock-on. It's been in the spotlight with some inconsistency around what's a scrum, what's a penalty, what's a yellow card. Turns out it's actually pretty straightforward to explain it. Here is Australia's #1 referee, Angus Gardner.
So an intentional knockdown is, for us, under the guidelines, is defined as a player not being in a realistic position to regather the ball from a intercept opportunity. It is widely misconstrued about what constitutes one and what doesn't. The first example, Hurricanes-Reds. Now, we would not constitute this as an intentional knock-on. The reason being is that number 12, Black, whilst he does knock the ball forward, he is in a position to regather, and therefore it's not an intentional knock-on. Some people might say, well, the Hurricanes player was never trying to make a genuine intercept opportunity here. He stuck his arm out. Good fortune maybe, but the ball has gone up, and but for the actions of the Reds player, you would say that that player would have regathered/caught that ball. So therefore, it's just a knock-on. Now let's look at some examples from the weekend that are classed as intentional knock-ons. The first being the Waratahs Highlanders game. Michael Hooper going for the intercept opportunity, gets one hand to the ball, knocks it forward straight into Ben Smith. Clearly not in a position to regather the ball, but not a line break opportunity, so therefore penalty only. Good decision. Here we see Aaron Smith again going for that intercept opportunity, gets one hand to the ball, not able to regather it. But in this situation, the difference being is that there was a line break opportunity for the Waratahs. Not in a position to regather the ball, penalty kick and a yellow card because of a line break opportunity. If we look back to Crusaders v Waratahs, Naira Voro knocks the ball forward, not in a position to regather it because he's a long way from where the ball actually lands. Some people might think that's harsh. Yes, he looked like he was going for a genuine intercept opportunity, but he wasn't in a position to regather. Again, correct decision, line break opportunity, therefore penalty, yellow card. And if it did bobble up and he was able to recatch it or attempt to recatch it in the proximity of it, then we would say that's a normal knock-on. But if I'm looking to make the intercept and I don't get into position to regather that ball, then we class that as an intentional knock-on. And all players and top-level coaches are bought into the guidelines surrounding intentional knock-ons. Just to reiterate, it is a high-risk, high-reward play if the player is not in a realistic position to regather the ball.
Very well explained by Angus Gardner. And there is so much luck involved with it. But a couple of similar situations there where the player has gone to knock it up. One scored it a bit squarer. It's gone to an area that can't be regathered. The other one just happens to go up. Chance of regathering.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine margins, and that's the issue I've got. I've got no issue whatsoever with the interpretation and the rulings that they're coming up with, because that's how it's written, letter of the law. What I don't agree with is someone spending 10 minutes on the sideline that has a huge determining factor on the outcome of that game, when it is just fine margin if it hits the thick of your thumb or your fingertips, and it's those fine margins.
So what's your answer to it?
So what's a suitable penalty then?
I think a penalty's fine. I don't think someone should sit a yellow card 10 minutes on the sideline for something that, like he just said, it's a little bit of good fortune involved where he could have potentially regathered it had it not hit him on the
What about the Aaron Smith one?
No, I'm happy with yellow cards. I think it's really well explained, like high risk, high reward, and it just shows what sort of decisions they're going to make under pressure.
High risk, high reward, but the outcome doesn't match the crime in any sense if it's a yellow card. If there's a certain try, great.
See, I thought Jake Gordon could have scored if he had caught that. Like he looked like it was a good line break. So I think
50 out.
If we're trying to make our game a more of an entertainment spectacle, we've got to take the gamesmanship, aka Stephen Hall's cheating, out of it.
Crafty.
All right, and make sure that is a high risk play that does come off. If it doesn't, 10 minutes in the bin. You won't do it if you're going to get.
It's like the old scrumler when they used to be able to knock the ball out of number 8-10. No one pays money to see a scrum that's a good contest knocked out of hand. So I think
that was a good segment from Gus Gardner. I really enjoyed that.
Indeed.
I'm better for it.
Well, you've sprayed him so many times on
I have.
I have not.
Our match officials are
not in the public eye, but
members of
behind the
society.
scenes.
I'm just frustrated.
Yeah,
I am. I've had enough.
Can I get to a break?
Hands on head time.